Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to return to Poland and do the penultimate video in my Polish beer month that I've been filming for you across the month of May in 2016. So for this one we are going to return to Warsaw and do my second review of a beer from Browar Perun. I really enjoyed the first one I did from these guys. So we're going to have a taste of the Serce Dębu today, which is an American style brown ale, and it comes in at 5.5%. Perun, of course, is the Polish, or the Slavic god I should say, for thunder. It's almost like the kind of Slavic version of Thor actually when I read about him, but it should be quite an interesting beer. The last one I had from these guys was the Lichoniepie, which was an oatmeal stout, and it was really quite an interesting beer. I really enjoyed that one. But this was another one that was recommended to me by Pavel at Piwomaniak in Warsaw. Very nice guy, and he's got a great beer shop. The link to the Facebook page for it's in the description below, so make sure you check him out if you find yourself in Warsaw. I'm sure he'll point you in the direction of some really nice Polish beers. I've really enjoyed the ones he's recommended so far. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual websites are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other Browar Perun reviews. Hopefully I can return to these guys in the near future. This is the last beer I have from them at the moment, but there's all the usual social media, Facebook, Twitter, Untappd. Please follow me on there. Your support is much appreciated. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel, and as always to my Polish viewers, I apologise in advance for any bad Polish pronunciations in this video. Your language is stupidly difficult for someone who is not a native speaker, as many of you have told me, but do get in touch and let me know some of the other Polish beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review, and do let me know what your favourite Browar Perun beers are, and I'll see if I can get those for you in the near future. So anyway, to tell you about Browar Perun. So Browar Perun were founded back in 2014, and they're based in the Warsaw area, which is almost right in the middle of Poland. But the company is run by 4 people. So this is Tomasz Mojsa, who acts as the manager and the accountant of the company. There's Adam Kozgala, I guess you would say, who is the brewer. There's Tom Grzybowski, who is a former IT engineer. He deals with most of the PR and marketing side of things. And there's also Iwona Grzybowska, who is a trained economist, but she does a little bit of everything from what I can gather. But the company, as I mentioned, are based in the Warsaw area, and like many other Polish breweries, they started out as a contract brewery. This is the same kind of concept as the Phantom breweries here in Sweden or the Gypsy breweries in Denmark. They don't have their own facility at the moment, but they brew at a variety of kind of host breweries, if you like. But they are apparently getting their own brewery fairly soon. But they're based in the Mazowian Voivodeship, which is a historical region of Poland just to the northeast of Warsaw, and the main city there was Płotowsk. And this means that most of their activity is actually centred in Warsaw for the moment, but they do plan to open up a new brewery in the Franciszkowie area in Grojek County, which is that's going to open in the second quarter of 2016. But up until then, most of their beer was actually produced at Browar Warsaw in Konopnicka. So the brewery is named after Perun, who is the Slavic god of thunder and lightning. Apparently he was a rugged man with a copper beard that used to run around on a chariot pulled by a goat buck, and his weapon of choice is an axe or a hammer which he can throw at his enemies and it will return to his hand. It actually sounds very similar to the Nordic mythology from Thor, as I'm sure you've guessed. But these guys produce some really nice beer. They've got a cool name as well, the symbol's very cool, and they've got a good diversity of range. So just to list the other beers you can get from these guys, so there's the Jasny Grom, which is an APA, Serce Dębu, which is this one here, the American brown, Nok Kupali, which is a foreign extra stout, Sabat Krzyżownik, which is a German Dunkelweizen, Dubis Malone, which is a smoked rye beer, or Orszewski Guy, which is a brown porter, Lichoniepie, which is an English oatmeal stout, I reviewed that for you before, Drog de Praville, which is an amber Weizen, Obelvani Perperuni, I guess you would say, which is a Belgian pale ale, is Lotish Dral, which is a double IPA, Georgie, which is the Three Auroras, the Amber IPA, and Sacrum, which is the Belgian Pale Ale. Apparently that's a behemoth, that one, they say. So yeah, it's quite an interesting brewery. Again, apologies for the pronunciations during the history part of the tasting, but we'll now get on to the actual tasting part of the review now. So this one is a 5.5% brown ale. I should also say, go and check out the brewery website if you want to learn more about this brewery. They're quite interesting. But it's a 5.5% American style brown ale. It's named, the name of it literally means the heart of oak, or oak heart, the Serce Dębu, this one. But the malt base of this is Pilsner malts, brown malts, caramels, chocolate malts, and it's hopped with Mosaic and Centennial. And the yeast strain is US05. You can see on the side there it's got Adam Ksogala's signature on the side there, and it's best before the 26th of March 2016. But I'm filming this beer review for you on the 9th of March, the same as the last one that you saw yesterday. So it's well in date and it should be quite nice. I'll let you have a little quick look at the artwork on this before we open it up. You can see there's Perun there on the bottle cap with his hop cone beard. I guess that's meant to represent his copper beard, but you can see it's got this nice kind of contour style artwork on it. This bottle's got a little dent, a little ding in it, probably from when I brought it back in the plane from Poland. But yeah, you can see it's really nicely presented. On the side there you can see Adam Ksogala's signature, so it should be nice. Let's get this guy open and we'll get on with the tasting there. You can also see on the side there's the things about Browar Perun, so it'll be interesting to see how these guys get on when they open their new brewery, but their beers already are very, very good. So I would recommend that you try them out, and of course this was another one that Pavel recommended to me. So yeah, if you've watched my channel before, you will know that I do really enjoy the brown ale style. I mean, I tried the Brooklyn Brown quite a long time ago, and that was really where I got interested in brown ales, and I've just enjoyed it ever since. American brown ales, especially some of the West Coast brown ales, are really, really nice. And of course the standard of Polish craft beer, from what I've discovered so far, really is excellent. So always interesting to try these kind of styles of beer from different countries. So as you can see, this beer is poured a really dark, kind of rosewood mahogany colour actually, but there is a degree of transparency to it. I can see through this beer, but I think maybe you guys can't with the camera. But it is, that said, it is very, very dark. It's not opaque, it's just dark in colour. There's not really a haziness to this beer. It is just really quite dark, but it's a nice kind of chestnut mahogany rosewood colour, this one. Very nice looking beer. There's a quarter finger of a kind of beigey, very light beigey cream coloured head on this one. It looks really nice. Some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, but quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of that head there. So it looks really nice. Let's give it a smell. Now it smells quite sweet actually. This is a nice aroma from this one. You can smell some of the hoppy characters in here. There's a little bit of kind of dark red fruit in this, but you can smell a little bit of the floral aromaticity and some of the earthy hops. The Centennial, of course, will give you a nice big floral aromatic character, but the Mosaic is a little bit more earthy. And of course they will give you some fruity characters. But on top of that you can smell a little bit of roasted malt, but for me it's quite chocolatey actually. This is quite chocolatey with a little bit of kind of nutty character. We'll sugar it up a bit more and try and get some more of it. Yeah, definitely chocolatey, this one. Quite a dark chocolate actually. There's a little bit of a coffee malt in there and some caramel as well. There's a kind of distinct toasted caramel to this one, but quite chocolatey, and there is a little bit of coffee as well. Maybe some kind of nutty or woody sort of undertones in it also. But it smells really nice. It smells like a really good beer. A bit more malt forward I think it's going to be, just from the aroma, but there are hops in there, so we just need to be on the lookout for that. But yeah, this smells really nice. So yeah, just take a little bit of time and smell the aroma of this one before you get stuck in. But let's have a go at this beer now. So this one is the Serce Dębu, an American style brown ale from Browar Perun, who are based in the Warsaw area in Poland. Let's get stuck into this guy. Slanje na zdrowie. Now that's good. That is a good beer, that. It's not quite what I was expecting actually. The malt is interesting. It's very light in the mouthfeel, this one. Normally I would expect a brown ale to be a little bit heavier than that. But that said, it is very good. I mean, as I've said before, in certain countries, like for example France, there seems to be a tendency in France to have beers that are very light in the mouthfeel, but they certainly don't lack in flavour. And this one really reminds me of that a little bit. It's very light in its mouthfeel, but it's got quite a lot of flavour in it as well. So as I always say, particularly when it comes to dark beers, sugar the beer around your palate a little bit and just let your whole mouth adjust to this one. So this should be a really nice. This is a really nice beer actually, but it looks a lot better now that I've poured the last little bit in. You can see that head is just formed nicely on this. Yeah, there is a little bit of fruity character to this one coming from these hops, but this is a really interesting beer. So the middle of your palate is blanketed with a light bready character that just goes right across the middle of your tongue, and it is very light. As I said, the mouthfeel to this one feels very light. Normally I would expect a brown ale to be a little bit heavier in the mouthfeel, but on top of that you're getting the nice roasted coffee-ish characters. There's a bit of that kind of well-fired bread crust that I always talk about with some dark beers too, but in the middle of your palate it's very dark, almost a little bit ashy actually in this one, but it's very dark and very roasted coffee sort of flavours you're getting in the middle of the palate. Yeah, as you move forward a little bit, right in the middle of the tongue you can get some nice sweet caramel. There's a bit of a toasted element to it as well, and there's also some kind of biscuity, grainy characters mixing in with that. But when the beer starts to move into the aftertaste, it's more sort of coffee flavours, the roasted coffee flavours that are starting to linger there into the aftertaste. It really, for me, is the coffee that starts to dominate. There's maybe a little bit of a kind of woody or nutty flavour mixed in with the sweeter side of the beer at the beginning before it moves into the aftertaste as well. But yeah, this is nice actually. It's got an interesting sort of flavour combination going on here. You can pick up a little bit of a kind of red estery fruit just behind the front of the tongue there. It's not quite the same as the kind of candied fruits that you get, for example, in Scotch ales or things like that. This one does have a little bit of tropical fruit, and I would guess that's from the Mosaic hop in this one, and probably the Centennial as well. It's two nice American hops they've used in this. Normally Mosaic gives you a bit of an earthy character, and you can feel that at the back of your palate. You can pick up some of these nice earthy characters in the mouthfeel, and as you move further forward I think you're getting more of the Centennial coming out, so you can feel the more floral aromatic characters at the front corner of the palate and around the front curve of the tongue. It's a bit smoother and a bit more grassy actually around the very front curve, but behind that curve of the tongue you can feel the little oily bubble where the fruity characters start to come out. And I think there's maybe a little bit of citrus in there, but there's also a little bit of a kind of tropical fruit, but at the same time it does come across as a little bit like a red fruit. It's quite interesting. That's something I need to learn a little bit about, is how exactly they do some of these kind of different flavours with the red fruits, because normally they say very plainly it's like citric-y esters you get from a hop, or it's tropical fruit esters and it gives you grapefruit, or it gives you passion fruit, or it gives you orange or something like that. But this beer seems to have a combination of a few different things, so it's interesting to see how the different malts of course can impact on that as well. But overall this is quite a nice beer. If you like brown ales, then this one's definitely for you. If you like a combination of earthy hoppiness and the more roasted coffee flavour. So if you enjoy a brown ale that leans more towards the coffee side of things, then I'm sure you will quite enjoy this beer. I like it just for the kind of strange combination of flavours that's in this one. It's quite unusual in comparison to what I've had before from this style. And I said the same actually for the Bednary Amber Ale that I reviewed for you in the last video in Poland. It's quite interesting. It's always the same with new countries when they make these American beer styles, because they seem to have their own take on them, which is always really interesting. It's the same when you try Scotch ales. For me, being Scottish, trying Scotch ales from different countries, it's always interesting to see what parts of the flavour they like to promote and what ones they like to suppress a little bit. It's always interesting noting trends like that, and it seems that the Polish people like the really roasted, dark flavours in a lot of their beers actually. But this is a nice beer. I've certainly enjoyed this one. And I've only tried two dark beers from these guys now, so for the next review from Browar Perun, I need to try and get an IPA or a double IPA, something like that, because both of the beers I've tried have been darker ones. But this is really nice. As I say, I'd recommend this to people who enjoy the more coffee and kind of roasted flavoured beers, particularly more malt leaning brown ales. If you're a fan of brown ales, you'll enjoy this. If you like the more well-fired, slightly ashy flavoured ones. This one's really good in coffee flavours too. It's got a nice bit of hoppiness to it as well. But in terms of the mouthfeel, as I said at the start of this beer review, the mouth is really quite light on this one. It is a light-bodied beer. I don't think, to be honest, I don't think it's even pushing the mid-bodied category. It is very light in its mouthfeel, quite a wet mouthfeel, slightly oily too, I would say, but the carbonation, I think, is actually quite smooth. Yeah, there is a little bit of a prickle to it, and it helps bring out some of the kind of coffee-ish part of the beer, and also some of the earthy hops. So it is quite interesting in that regard, but overall, this is actually quite a light beer, and I mean, it's unusual because of how light it is and how much bitterness you're actually getting from the malt base. The malt base really does lean more towards the bitter side of things. The sweetness, as you drink more and more of this beer, the sweetness from the caramel and the bready elements and things like that does start to fade a bit, and it's more of a roasty, bitter character that just dominates the palate here. There is a bit of hoppy dryness too. I think the hops are a little bit more smooth and juicy, to be honest. There is a bit of fruity, juicy character, and also some kind of grassy things and floral character at the front of the tongue too, but overall it is actually really quite nice. I have to admit, I've very much enjoyed this beer. So yeah, as I said, I would recommend this one to people who enjoy more coffee forward beers, who enjoy the nice dark roasted malt sort of things. You'll definitely enjoy this one if you're a fan of those sort of brown ales. Quite unusual, like I said, it's a bit lighter in mouthfeel than you normally expect for our brown ale, but it is a very, very good beer. So if you get the chance, go and check out Browar Perun and their Serce Dębu. This has been a really cool beer to review for you. Always interesting to try these American beer styles from different countries. So yeah, go and check out Browar Perun. But I hope you've enjoyed this beer review. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Go and check out my social media things. Most importantly though, go and check out Pavel's store, Piwomaniak, pardon me, and also go and check out Browar Perun. But I hope you've enjoyed this review, and I hope you've enjoyed the Polish beer month that I've done for you so far. Tomorrow's going to be the last video, unfortunately, but I'm sure in the near future I will return and do some more Polish beers for you. The standard has been excellent, so if you're watching from elsewhere, do go and check out the Polish beer scene. It's really thriving at the moment and doing very well. And to those of you in Poland, I hope you're enjoying us seeing a Scottish guy review some of your beers. But thank you again for watching, and until next time, na zdrowie. Go and check out Browar Perun and Piwomaniak. Cheers just now.